Had to take the pizza off my face. uh, put the beautiful sounds on my bowls and my chimes. They resonate a little greater. Helps me send the energy out a little better. I think everything is ready. CBD lotion commercial. Helps hold the bowls, the little bowls especially. All right. Went out of order last night. Wow. So released a lot of energy. And on the blue, because the blue is for to open up the throat. Give everybody this blue argonite energy. Send that out. Because the argonite lives with the bowl. That's kind of deep, hearing it in the earpiece and hearing it right here. Quite the sensation. All right. Get all the equipment on. Damn hands. Well, good morning. Guten morning, as they say in Germany. Guten morning. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show, and I am your host, 8 Wind. It's timeless. I am also Big Pontiac. I am also the Time Lord. I am the holder of the sacred infinite ball game that was created by the Hero Twins. I am also your galactic daddy-o, welcoming each and every one of you to sit on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And welcome all the Chocolate Mountaineers tonight. Welcome all the Chocolate Mountaineers tonight. Just drinking water because I just ate 3 pieces, maybe well, little pieces of pizza. So I don't need any more beer. So I'm drinking copper motor or shungite infused filtered water. So pop them if you got them. And we are blowing my mind with the Evolve Plus XL made by Yukon Wolf. So good morning, Reese. Peace. Thank you for joining. Derek 405. Yes, also I rock with the Hero Twins. Absolutely. Uh, Smooth mix, light skin goodness. What's happening? Oh, it was great to hear the brothers talk and touch on so many different subjects tonight. I appreciate both of their works, and it was cool to listen to. And we, we needed as many positive and high vibration conversations that we can have, because the world right now is so much putting each other down. I'm better than you. I got this and got that. So it's good to have some positive. I thought you weren't going on. I was getting ready to take a nap, but I'll stay up for a minute. Yeah, I'll stay up for a minute. I ain't gonna go too terribly long. I go in the morning to get fitted for orthotics, and then I'm going to get both of my Achilles basically massaged and worked on, and because what happens when you tear your Achilles, it gets real thick in there. It takes a lot to kind of loosen that up. Just normal walking don't really do it. So I'm gonna, when I start playing pickleball seriously, and I'm probably gonna play. I didn't play today, got a little lazy, hung out with my daughter. Probably play tomorrow. Well, it's supposed to snow tomorrow, but the rest of the week is supposed to be in the 50s. And up here, when it gets in the 50s, people wear shorts. I mean, it's amazing if you watch the tolerance we have up here. As I said the other day, it was 12 but sunny. So for us up here, that's nice. Brother Jay, thank you for the kind words. Standing ovation, standing ovation. And so up here, we're kind of, it doesn't take much to satisfy or make us comfortable with the weather. So we might get a little snow tomorrow. Hey, Tiger Strong, what's happening? And yeah, I mean, those two brothers, the Grand Inquisitors, are a tough act to follow. So I'll do my best to try to make something interesting for the Chocolate Mountaineers tonight that sit on the galactic patio with me. Because again, I really don't have to get up terribly early. I slept till 1 o'clock today. Kind of chilled today. We just made pizza the last hour. So my son woke up and he's like, "What's with this pizza?" I'm like, "I don't give a damn. You want to cook the motherfucker?" I was munching on other shit and drinking beer. Um, do you watch American Horror Story? They tell you truth and right in plain sight. They show what's going on in Hollywood. I had watched the first season, maybe some of the second season, but yeah, it's some truths that they show in it. Television and movies. I almost think in this in the negative magic that's done, the negative side of this entertainment. I I think I almost want to think they're forced to tell some truths. Uh, Now, some can point out that's part of the free will, that they have to tell so many truths to get into the galactic universal law. Some people believe that free will is. I don't quite believe in that, because an illusion, free will can't exist. However, I think with saying that, I still think that they have to expose some truths. So even if you look at a show like The Matrix and shit, it's like part of it, like a lot of people didn't understand the mind. As I talk about, that's Stinchon's greatest discovery or greatest release, is talking about the mind. I don't even know if he fully was aware of how it manipulates our system today, and how whichever entity does run things, how this entity, I think, again, they couldn't release this shit if it was 1,000 years ago. They couldn't release this shit. So I think that it knew it could keep that in its pocket. Oh, liquid fire. What's happening? Oh, yeah, I know you was say you was gonna email me. So if you got any questions, go ahead. I'll be free the next, you can always email me. I generally respond. So if you got anything you need, a little work on, or some kind of thing that to remove or move, I can help. I'm pretty open to that. So that's why I think they have to show those truths. I don't know. I didn't watch Zach's stuff, but I don't know if Zach put out a thing. William Hurt died today. Heat, was it Body Heat? Broadcast News, wasn't Broadcast News where the guy got up at the end and said, I can't take it anymore and I'm pissed as hell or some shit like that. So those numbers, a journalist got killed, they say. Hey, there's Crazy Sarge. What's happening, Crazy Sarge? Yeah, he did. Okay. Oh, there's PJ Allen. What's happening, my main man? We talked a little earlier. Yeah, he did. He played in that. Yep. Kaepernick was at Suns game. It's all Cap. That's funny. That's funny, Derek. uh Seeing you the show. Didn't get to watch it all. Yeah, I watched I watched most of it. I listened to it. I was watching some shit and I listened to it. So I got to see the fellas chop it up and stuff. So, I always I support a lot of people, I really do. I most of the creators that I subscribe to, when they put out work, I watch. I generally watch. Not much. I thought I would jump in for a few minutes tonight. But thank you. Thank you. I've been thinking about you. I got to give you a call. Cause it's I like to stay connected with good people. Like and good like minds. And Crazy Sarge is someone that tried to help me learn how to move through this. I'm just but he did try the effort to help me move through this. He's like, yeah, this is what you do. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, I saw that. Matter of fact, they was pushing that Saturday night. They was talking about Brady Saturday night. 23, of course, the reverse would be the Mason number, showing that he's affiliation with the Masons. But it makes no sense. Why would they want him? And see, that shows it's even more script. Who wants this damn near 50-year-old dude? Again, when they take the guards down, he can't get away. Wasn't as accurate. Ball wasn't as deep. So, but you know what? This is part of it too. Silvers and them didn't want him to retire. The machine didn't want him to retire because they see value in the numbers he's bringing when his games are played. Jersey sold, and he's not number one. But again, they feel that he's asset, and because again they forced him out. If you look at it, remember they kind of forced him out. ESPN put this motherfuckers out. So I think or not Silvers, no, Goodell. Sorry. He's clogging up the lane for new talent. Exactly. Right. Liquefier. They are milking him until the end. Sorry for not jumping as much. Hey, you never have to apologize, brother. As long as you do your thing and you can watch when you can, you ain't have to apologize. I know how that is. It is funny. Like my daughter comes over and then she occupies my room the 3 days she's here. But she does the same thing at home. If she's at home, she ain't sitting up under her mother. She'll be in her room doing her world. And that's just how it goes. I was the same way. Shit. When I was in high school, Shit, I think when I was in like ninth grade, I had cable in my room, color TV. I had a 8-track tape player, which I used to love 8-track, and that's all I needed. And I had a pair of headphones. So I understand. Uh, I will post that Brady's 20-20-43. That's funny. And I'll admit, I mean, he don't look like George Blanda. You know, George Blanda played, let me get this right. George Blanda played in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And I think Brady has achieved those four different decades. I think he did that too. I think he did that too. so uh and we saw the same thing with Mike. You know, the plan was always for Mike to be on the court. And as I said before, if you study that, Mike saved that franchise. And look at the way they thanked him. It's like, nah, nigga, you can't have this shit up here. You go down south where your base is. And I don't know if people went down to North Carolina in the 90s, early 2000s. No, more in the 90s, I want to say. It was Michael Jordan, Toyota, Michael Jordan. They were selling RVs. Uh, like when I said I bought the ones with the AAIDS on it, which a lot of people call it Scottie Pippins, but the black ones with the white big letters. I bought it at Michael Jordan and his sister. No, Michael Jordan's mama and the sister owned a like Finish Line. I cannot remember the name of that place because when I first moved here in '06 and years before when I would come up here, that store was up in the Mall of America. It's a different store now. But I can't remember that brand, that sporting good brand, but it was a sporting good brand that had made it all the way up here. So I don't know if they still run that. His mother's probably his daddy was old. I mean, his daddy was old. I want to say his daddy was when he was born in the early 30s or mid 30s. So I'm sure that his dad was quite a bit older than his mother, but she still got to be in like mid to late 80s. And again, James Jr. Shit, I want to say James Jr. was a year or two older than me. And then Larry is a year younger than Mike, is almost 2 years. But Mike has a sister. I think the sister's actually older, but they graduated together. So you know, these aren't young people anymore. So of course, I'm not sure who runs that business. You know, his sons run a shoe business. Where'd it go? It jumped on me. Are you still rocking 8-tracks? I got a bunch in storage. No, not anymore. I had one that went on your shoulder. You just popped the tape in and walked, and I love that thing. And I left it at my grandmother's and forgot about it. And found somebody gave it to me years later. You know, his shit was obsolete. But when I remember like the month I was at my grandmother's, I wouldn't go nowhere without that thing. And I mean, I had the extra batteries and everything. You know. And you know, if you had a favorite song and it was just one track, you could just pop it to that or keep it on the track. It's kind of fun. And I want to say, I'm trying to think, because I had my 8-track recorded too. You could record things on the 8-track, so I could play an album and record it on the 8-track. So I don't know if people remember that or not, but no more 8-tracks for me, buddy. They take up too much room. You know, you try to have it, like if you look at, if people can remember the cassette holders, like you would buy the little plastic cassette holder that held all your cassettes, or a bag, yeah, the 8-track shit was huge. As you know, hell, let me see if there's something equal around me. An 8-track tape was damn near big as this box. And you stuck it in the thing. Brady played it 3 decades. Okay, so he hasn't equaled my man. Okay, so he hasn't equaled the Raiders. Really, I still have my parents' old 8-track recorder for real. We never had Richard Pryor album. Damn. I used to sneak and listen to it. Yeah, I started listening to Richard Pryor like my best friend, as I said, one of my best friends growing up, his parents were Masons, and they were going all the time to Mason shit. His daddy was a big contractor, and I don't. He would get maybe his older sister. He had a sister who was probably in her early 20s, and she would buy the albums for him, and we would sit there and listen to him. And we pretty much had the shit memorized as children, like sixth grade, seventh grade children, all the way up. I had all that shit memorized. Now, of course, by the time I was in high school, some of the albums weren't as good. Being the movies started coming out, but like the first time I heard Richard Pryor was actually it was a double album called Pryor Goes Fox Hunting. One side was Richard Pryor, the other side was Red Fox. That was the first side. Now, as I've said before, the first material I personally owned was the Wastak album. And I mean, it was only if you as I said before, you can watch the Wastak stuff on YouTube. You can just see his performance, and shit's funny as hell. Wastak is, I mean, I'll say this: if you want to really see what saved us from probably a greater harm as melanated people, I still say the Funky Chicken, that dance and what that did for our people gave us some years of protection. And I know it ain't the greatest, but I really think, and what I feel for that, and that's why I normally play that on the day out of time, because I think it fits. But you watch what those young people did, which is I look at as being part of the ghost dance. Which again, if you really study Haiti, the Voodoo was probably never stronger in one point than when the Haitians beat the French out. And as I said before, the motherfuckers stood off. They got off the land. And they said, well, we'll blockade you, and then we'll bombard you with our cannons, because they couldn't beat them coming on land. And again, you can find the French talking about being hacked up to death with nothing there. Not just dark, but really nothing but machetes, knives, hatchets, and it's just killing them, and ain't no people behind it. And then shooting in the shit where they should have hit people because they could hear screams and nobody there. So... Yeah, you said your parents. Hey, Mr. Lamborghini, thank you for joining. My pops brothers had 8-track players in their Lincolns back in the day. Yeah, we had a Impala. Let me see, 89, 88, 89 Impala. You leaving?
Yeah, about to get Uber.
Oh, all right, I'll see you. Eat my goddamn pizza, then you leave.
I ain't none of that.
I'm just fucking with you. Be safe. The brother there had his car stolen. Apparently, he didn't have full insurance. I don't know if he left it running, but yeah. I was trying to think what kind of car. We had a '78 because, as I said before, I have cassettes too. Okay, as I said before, my stepfather, as an engineer, he was an industrial engineer for General Motors or Fisher Body Plant, and he got a new car every year. He got a car given to him for the year. No taxes, no nothing, just put plates and insurance on it. That's all he had to do. And he did that for all 30 years, you know. So we got a 78 Caprice. Yeah, 78 Caprice. And it had the velour seats, and it had, I'm pretty sure it had an 8-track. And then, as I was saying, I was recording my own 8-track, so I had all my own music, and you could put shit. You could put albums on, 8-tracks. You could definitely put albums on it. I remember I got that system where I could record 8-track record. And yeah, I made a ton of music. And then I got that either in probably 76 or 77, maybe the Christmas of 76. And by the time I was a senior, we were kind of switching over to cassettes. You were seeing the first what you call mixtapes, where dudes was making mixtapes. And not artists, but just dudes making a lot of different hey Samuel, what's happening? Okay, yeah, you see how they screwed the one dude, but I showed the video of them fixing it. Yep. Thank you, Samuel. Yeah, so yeah, I mean that's how quickly things have changed. By my, let me see, the class before me that graduated from college in 77, the one dude, Dwayne Board, won all the Super Bowls with the 49ers, Pee Wee Board. He was number 76, but he won four Super Bowls. He was from A&T. But that class before me, as I've said before, I went my freshman year, we was wearing cowboy shit. I mean, that's like I said before, Detroit, we went from disco, like in the summer, May, June, disco, July, new wave. And by the time I was leaving in August, we was wearing that cowboy shit. Now I don't know if Nick Taylor's old enough to remember that. Nick's I think in his early 50s. So I don't know if he noticed that. But it's like we up in the Detroit clubs wearing full cowboy shit. And I mean chaps, spurs, little guns. I mean full cowboy regalia, straight up cowboy, 12-gallon hats. So I go, of course, I didn't wear the full shit when I went to college, but still, I had to, as I said before, the John Wayne shirts, the John Wayne shirts. And so it was all that culture. And then go to North Carolina where these motherfuckers was like, it seemed like they was stuck in the 1950s. It was culture shock like a motherfucker. And it wasn't just because it was all black folks. I mean, it seemed like I was around the uncoolest motherfuckers in the world. It was really like I done went on another planet. I'm meeting these motherfuckers from New York. I'm meeting these motherfuckers from Philadelphia, DC. These motherfuckers all was like, their coolness was not there compared to me being in Michigan. I mean, not in clothes. I mean, it was just so interesting. I don't know. It blew my mind. I'm looking at these cats like, ain't none of these motherfuckers cool at all. Now I became cool with people, but I never thought culturally I was behind. I never thought that. I never thought that culturally, and I know, awareness, I was way still above people, and not better, but I'm just saying more aware of how things was moving even then. And as I talked, I make fun of the first motherfucker guarding me wearing a polo shirt. I was like, okay. And I noticed them niggas quit wearing that shit after I destroy them. You better not come out here hooping wearing a goddamn polo shirt. So that's just, But yeah, they said a reporter got killed in Ukraine. Maybe, they're playing this. Some of it's real, some of it's fake. Again, this is the scenario they have to give you. I mean, we've seen other wars them do the same thing. In some areas they fight, in some areas they ain't. You look at some Vietnam movies, motherfuckers constantly fighting. What is the Robin Williams movie? Wake Up Vietnam. You see how a lot of the Europeans had it. They used to call that being in the rear with the gear. So they ain't seeing that shit out there. So to them, the war is gravy. They getting paid to be overseas, fucking prostitutes, getting high, living it. Now, it was other motherfuckers, they seeing death every day. Death and destruction every day. So it wasn't the same war for everybody compared to the other wars. Other wars, almost everybody was affected. But Vietnam was the kind of thing where the base camps really never got attacked. The rear camps, not until the motherfuckers move out. That's why I don't let people tell you that America lost the Vietnam War. And that's a lie. It sounds good, but that ain't what happened. I mean, war is, okay. The way you lose war is, do they stop you logistically? That means, do they stop you getting all your supplies? Didn't do that. Did they conquer South Vietnam? They didn't do that. That was the aim. The aim from the beginning was to save South Vietnam. And it did not fall until the Americans fully pulled out. Despite, and the same thing was done for the Afghanis, despite giving these $1 billion worth of equipment. They couldn't, the will. But, and another thing in Vietnam, they got smart. It's like, why the fuck are we killing each other? Dude's literally wearing purses now. Well, If you're saying that an expensive Gucci bag around your shoulder, slightly put around one on the other side, I don't know. I used to wear a little pouch. So I don't know if it was a purse, but it was a pouch I kept my little small bongs in. Now I do still wear my fanny packs because I wear sweatpants a lot or joggers, whatever you know them to be. So I am known to wear that shit. So fanny pack is perfect instead of trying to keep the shit in, sweat clothes. He said he likes his purses. Yep, they getting bigger and bigger. So, you see a motherfucker wearing them Gucci bags, you know. As I told my Tony Kukoc story, them mugs, they wives had them real bags cost 2,000-3,000 20 years ago. They was coming into America learning the system well with their men making big bread. Where you would see the sisters coming in from Chicago and you could tell some of them probably wasn't real. That's really what opened up the outlets. You think you look at a MK brand and you look at Polo. Like I was watching a thing where the New Yorkers was boosting so hard that now some of these people work for these companies. Well, that's how they got smart. They was like, shit, why should we let all these people make give out cheaper products that look like our products? We just give the season later. As I told the story before, Mother's Day 15. You go back that previous October, my ex and I was walking around and we went in the Coach store and it was a pink purse she loved. And she was like, and it was like $800-900. So come Mother's Day, year crossed over, come Mother's Day, I actually went in there and bought two purses for about $275, I think was the total. So that $800 purse, I got that purse for about $150. But I messed around. Her purse was a little bigger. I bought my mother a slightly smaller one. And so when I give it to her and she sees my mother open up her gift, she's like, oh shit, that's the one I wanted. And I was like, no, it's not. And then I handed her another bag. She didn't see the other bag. She was just her. You could see she was hating. She's like, oh, he bought the purse that, I wanted. You could just see her, hating and shit. And then I hit her with the second bag. I was like, no, this is the one you wanted. She still carries it. She still carries that shit like I gave her. I took back my rings from her ass, but she still that kind of shit, the purses and shit. She still has that shit. I wouldn't let her keep my rings. So like, nah. Well, I want to give it to our daughter when she gets older. Nah, chick, the deal is off. You got to give back the diamonds. By case law, you really got to give them back. And if you don't believe me, this one is full of diamonds that once was engagement rings. These are 7 diamonds that was all engagement rings. This is a ring of a Mac. And he got them all back. All them came back. He was engaged 7 times. Probably more than that. But he got all his rings back. And one of these diamonds is like, you really can't even buy this kind of shit anymore. Most of these diamonds are probably 50 years old, at least, if not older. Danny. Welcome. That age was a little older than me. That age was a little older than me, as far as real pimps. I was like, I came across somebody wishing somebody a happy birthday, and I remember her because I was like, we was talking about one of the pimps, one of the players back in the day that wasn't a dope dealer, and he had at the time 2 brand new town cars. Like this was. Greg must have been like 76. And he had like a brown one, he had a money green one. And I remember like just talking around her and she was like, shit, them was my cars. I'm like, really? She was like, yeah, both. And she was the hustler. He was like a pimp, but she was the hustler. She hustled dope and shit. But she's like, yeah, them were my cars. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. So yeah, them cats was a little older than me, to where where the mental thing, like the Mac shows, the mental thing kind of like Superfly goes through a little bit of it, but the Mac probably better than that. Now, them cats was a little older than me, but you know, I was still able to do my thing. That's funny. So the cats was a little older than me. That was kind of like the generations ahead of me, where you saw the true people in the game that just had chicks choosing them and stuff like that. That's a little ahead of me. All my work with women that wanted to do that, women like met me as like, this is what I'm about. I need some help. I need some help. And that's kind of how it got me. I never had to recruit not one chick. It was like women would bring women to me. And just the way I operated, and the girls knew they would be safe. So I did get chose like that. So, and the dope game kind of killed the pimp game a lot. A lot of people say it didn't, but it did. It really did. It made, as they call, free agents, you know. I'm not going to do this for you. I'm going to do this like I was talking about how the Indians did. You know, they go out and hunt to buy liquor. You know, they was going out to hold just to fucking get crack. And that's really what it was. Women let themselves be passed around just to fucking get crack. And we saw that from probably, I would say that you saw that from probably 90 to 2000. Lorenzo, my man, thank you for joining me for this late night version. But every night I come on is pretty late night. uh, Forgot to get glue, and I forgot to get paper towels at the $1.25 store. It's not even the dollar store. Drugs became the new pimp. That's right. What's up? Wapo all the time. Thank you for joining me. It did. It did. It became the motivation. It became the motivation to destroy themselves. You know, that's kind of what it was. It's like I told this story, and no shade to her, but like one of my girlfriends, and I mean high school girlfriends, that long ago. I hadn't seen her since like the summer maybe of '85, summer '86. I don't quite remember. But I'd heard that, you know, she was kind of out there. I'm kind of friends with some of her relatives, and they was kind of telling me. And then she got clean the last 5 years. So I mean, you know, she was in her 50s still fucking doing crack. It's like, that's a rough life. I mean, like one study, and I know a lot of people don't study this. And Craig Fax and them, and I talked about this before, but Craig Fax and them touched on it a little bit, but the number of dudes that would be considered baby boomers, but all 10 to 20 years older than me, so many of these cats died of heart attacks. And it all, you know, and they like mid 50s. And you know, you look at our people with the diet, the diabetes, high blood pressure, and then you put cocaine in there, cigarettes. I mean, Eddie Kendricks, the Temptation show got him. He was a chain smoker, had one of the most beautiful voices ever, and he was a chain smoking cigarette dude. Aretha Franklin smokes. I mean, it's interesting if you look at all these people from this, and some of them come from the great generation. Again, the baby boomers didn't come in until 48. So, but you saw a lot of these people that used heavy cocaine use. Again, they did not kill Ike Taylor, but somebody slipped Ike Taylor some crack while he was in a bed at his house. He was in a hospital bed, you know, IVs and everything. And somebody gave him crack. Of course, he smoked it and, you know, went into cardiac arrest. I think Rick James was another one. Got himself clean for a while. I mean, same way, really. I talk about Janis Joplin being like others that got a pure heroin that would make you OD. I mean, some nowadays they say they put fentanyl in it. But the same thing I say killed Lynn Byers is the same thing that killed Janis Joplin. They got pure cocaine and everybody else. Or she got pure heroin. He more than likely got pure cocaine. Wouldn't have been, I mean, you snorting it. It wouldn't have been hard for Brian Trimble to, bust out the pure shit and put that while he ain't looking. Lynn ain't looking and cut up the lines and made sure Lynn did them lines. So these things just got to be considered. Got to be considered that happened in the culture. And that's why I couldn't even imagine it being 60 years old and looking at some crack or looking at some lines of cocaine and say, don't mind if I do. I mean, the thing I hated about cocaine is it made you feel like you was going to have a heart attack. The way it made you feel, and how is that enjoyable? It's like, how is it enjoyable with your shit pounding hard in your heart? How is that enjoyable? And I'd watch people go through that. I told this story before. Eric, every time Eric would smoke crack, motherfuckers had to call the people up to come get him. Like every time. And it's like, I quit hanging with them niggas because I got tired of seeing this motherfucker, OD every time. Have a mild heart attack every time. Like they'd call me, yeah, Eric over here. I'm like, man, what y'all got him over there for? You know what's going to happen. And sure enough, they called me, my boy, like, yeah, we had to take Eric in again. Every time that motherfucker smoked crack, he had to go to the hospital because he started going to cardiac arrest. Now he's doing well now. Why he was, you come across so many funny stories, and I know his business because my ex-wife helped him. But while he was smoking crack and being out of control, his girl started hoeing around on him, and my ex kind of helped him because she would drop their son off at my house because his son and my son, or maybe his son's a year older, but so basically, around the same level. And so, like, I would come home and this little motherfucker over here, and I'm like, oh, well, Diane's out doing such and such. And I would just laugh because I knew her husband was an idiot. Damn crack smokers. Tiger Strong, what's happening? Tom Brady had to come back for the ratings. He has a lot of pull. Yeah, I think that's why, too. I agree that's why. Selling jerseys, popularity. They want to keep that stiff, standing still quarterback up there, and that's what he is. He ain't scrambling, ain't doing none of that. Never had really a monster arm, but yeah. Damn, the son's in there pissing. Sounds like damn pipe is broke or some shit. Water rushing in. So those were some funny times. Those were really some funny times. And a lot of people didn't survive them. It's like, I can remember looking at somebody's 1975 yearbook in Battle Creek, the town I was living in, and looking at the people at 18 and how beautiful and vibrant they were, and then looking at them in their late 30s and early 40s and how destroyed these people looked. I mean, you talk about The Walking Dead. I mean, it just was unbelievable. But these were some of the same people. I mean, you wouldn't even believe it. It's like, there's no way this is so-and-so. And you watch women, the beauty don't last forever. I watched one girl at 18. She was probably the prettiest American Indian I'd ever seen at 18. And by the time she got hooked on crack and a drunk, you wouldn't even recognize her. Matter of fact, because I didn't see her for years, I was at a party with one of my other girls. And I ran into her and looked for her after that. Saw her walking one day, but I don't know, one of my other girls. And then I finally ran into her. And when I ran into her, the alcohol and the other shit was kicked in. You could just see. And she wasn't that much older. I ran into her maybe 3-4 years later because my ex kind of grew up with her or knew her family. But you could see where the alcohol had just started sucking some of that life out of her face. It's like even smokers, cigarette smokers, for European women, it really gives them a leathery look. It really makes their skin really look leathery. And, they get them lines. They get them smoking lines. You'll see them lines in their face. That's why a lot of them get Botoxed in here to take out that smoking. But you look at an old European lady that smoked for so many years, you'll see all them lines in her face. And you can see it in melanated people too. So, but Battle Creek has black squirrels. I've never seen one, only brown ones. Yeah, they had a black squirrels. Matter of fact, something I never saw in the 20 years I lived there was flooding. Then after living here for a few years, I guess they got hit by it because they built a flood thing because they're connected technically to the Kalamazoo River. No, it's another one. Yeah, they're connected from the Kalamazoo River because the Kalamazoo River goes from damn near Detroit all the way through to Lake Michigan. So that's where the river feeds. And it would flood in that area. And I guess they had flooding again, which I don't know what they did different, but started flooding again in those areas. Because there's a hilly part of that town. But yeah, they got the little squirrels, no doubt. What's up, Danny? The Red Fate. Okay. Welcome. But it's funny going back to back. It looks like my son took my son that lives with me. He's like, man, Dad, all these houses look like people done broke in them. And so it's, the city, especially like the house my ex-wife and I bought, they had really paid a lot of money to fix the city up and to see those same areas that they helped raise, and now they look just as bad. Black squirrels are out here but been here since I can remember. Yeah, they came into Battle Creek in the 20s or 30s. Kellogg's had something to do with it. Hey, Conley, what's happening? Yeah, the Lakers. I watched the hockey game, I watched a little bit of the basketball earlier. Again, I didn't get up till 1 o'clock, so the second game was, I think, third quarter, or the first game in the third by the time I got up. So, and then I had some running around to do. I took my daughter because she's ready to go home, see her mom, go to her room, which is understandable. I don't take offense to that. But so I caught the second game. It ended right as I came back. And so, yeah, I didn't see any of the college championship games today. I was out moving around or sleep. But I saw some of that Laker game, and yeah, it was a poor effort. Again, I think they're going for picks. I don't think they're going to be a force in the playoffs. I don't think Davis coming back. And again, I think they have to. I don't know. What the Lakers did made no sense. The Westbrook trade on any kind of way made no sense. To give up those assets made no sense. Now we look back at the Davis trade, wasn't a good trade. I mean, we know that they scripted for the Lakers to win in the bubble. That was where they probably could really won with that group. I didn't mind the Melo move. I thought that was a good pickup, but because he's a spot-up shooter, that's what LeBron needs. But that Westbrook trade to give up those assets and give up your best spot-up shooter, that made basketball sense. Grim Reaper, KD was cooking. Yeah, I saw the Slim Reaper cooking them. I heard about that. He was cooking them. Next year, I really believe it's going to be Lakers versus Knicks in finals, or maybe both in the playoffs, play in a tournament. Yeah, they're talking about going to tournament play like they do in Europe. That's what they do in Europe. They play tournament play. Tough. I still like them. I just don't see them moving very far ahead. I don't think Davis is going to help them. What is it, less than 30 games now? These last 2 games they played the last couple of days? It's got to be like 30 games left, so it ain't that much left. Hockey's the same way. It ain't any hockey games left. And this ain't been my weekend for betting, I'll tell you that. I lost 400, was that yesterday? Yeah, I lost 400 yesterday. Well, maybe 3, because I had one that, yeah, I did get a push on. But no, I'm about 400 because I lost both basketball games. I lost the basketball game and I lost the hockey game yesterday too, because they lost again yesterday, or they lost Friday, or maybe Friday. So yeah, I've been on an unlucky streak. Yeah, KD at 53. Yeah, I saw them show that. 16 games left. Yeah, so the season's basically done. And that's silly. I thought they dropped the mask mandates in New York, and they still ain't letting Kyrie play. Is that a Brooklyn thing? I thought the whole New York and the black super cop, that's the mayor up there, I thought he had dropped the mask mandate, but he ain't letting Kyrie play. So tell me that this ain't some bullshit. Players from other cities can come in town without having the poison and they can still play. But an employee who lives there can't play. That makes no sense. And you see that it's bullshit. It's more political and it's bullshit. So just doesn't make sense. Not yet. Yeah, okay, said not yet. Said not yet. WAP said not yet. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see. But it can't be real. If it only affects a local person, how can it be real? The Nets, definitely some bullshit. Yeah, it's some bullshit. It's some bullshit. It's contradictive. It's contradictive. So it shows you that it's all the scripting. And I'll say this, everybody that's making sports videos, right on, because they definitely feel the pressure, more eyes doubting what they do. And eventually, I mean, again, if you study any of these leagues and see the entertainment licensing, it tells you right there. Matter of fact, they had court hearings where the leagues said they want to keep the, they don't want to be legitimate sports. They want to keep the entertainment aspect of it. Because if you really studied what they did when the government went after wrestling, it made wrestling admit, despite them having an entertainment license, wrestling did have an entertainment license, but they still shamed wrestling and made them admit that everything was scripted. Yep. Where you realize sports was scripted. I've said this many times. The first time that it hit me was the 76, 77 finals. Or was it 77, 78? Portland won, so I would say it's probably 76. So when Portland beat that Dr. J team after Dr. J done beat them with George McGinnis, Collins, Kobe Bryant's daddy. I think he was on that team. Kobe Bryant's daddy. And somebody was saying that Kobe Bryant's daddy played like magic. This nigga was 6'10", 6'9". He was a 3. He wasn't a 2. He was a 3. 3-4. More of a 4. So I don't know. Somebody was saying that. And I want to say, I don't know. Somebody on Craig's Facts was talking. Kobe Bryant's daddy was older than Magic. He was like, well, they expected him to be the next Magic. How can a dude older than you be described as that? But anyway, I'm getting off. It was like they put a thing on Connie Hawkins. They said, Jordan was going to be the next Connie Hawkins. Then they wrote Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor was older than Connie Hawkins. So, but anyway, it was watching them beat the shit out of that Walton team and how slow they was. Look up where Dr. J dunks on Bobby Gross and he dunks on Bill Walton. That's during this series. I mean, they walk and then they lose 4 straight. And as I said, at the end of the game, George McGinnis, who averaged 26 points during the season, averaged 10 points during the NBA Finals. At that point in the game, Dr. J had something like 36, 38. They ain't stopped him all day. Who you think would take the last shot? 10-point George McGinnis or hot Dr. J? Or even fucking, I want to say Lee Cunningham was on the team. They was just, I think they was only a point down. And of course, the script said that it should be George McGinnis. And of course, he bricked the shot. So that to me was the first time my dad and I seriously looked at it. And I never looked at sports the same way again. Exactly. They share revenues. Yeah. They follow wrestling format. Exactly. They do. But that's the thing. They did not want to be a legitimate sports. That's what all of them. And that's what wrestling brought up. None of them wanted to be legitimate sports. I mean, again, look it up. You can find this. They wanted to be under the entertainment licensing. And so if you own an entertainment company, it's your job not to give, they used to say, what was the I'll try to think of the NFL commissioner already said parity in the NFL. This is this shows the teams are even. It was never meant to be like that. Now I can't speak of the AFL games. I wasn't old enough. I did watch the games, but to say scripted, I can't say. But I can tell you that the year that the Chiefs won, the first time they won, that was scripted. That meant no. Go back to Joe Namath's Super Bowl. That Baltimore Colts team was 14-1. That was one of the best defenses of that era. There was no way they was going to lose to him. No way. But that was for people to accept the AFL because the deal was already done. The merger was happening. Same thing with the Chiefs beating the Vikings. That Vikings team beat some hell of a teams, including that Colt team, to make it. And then you telling me the Chiefs just go roll over this strong defensive team. No, it don't happen like that. I'm starting to think Kobe's mom was a host for MJ's Seed, and Jelly Bean had to say that was his child. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Jordan, them people are so much older than us. His parents is probably in their 70s. So, I mean, when Kobe got pregnant with her, we was still probably in high school. And that'd been a younger Jordan. So unless you saying Jordan got to hit it when he was young, because them people, I mean, I want to say Joe Bryant has got to be mid-70s. So they got me by about 14, 15 years, and they more than that in Jordan. So I don't know. Zach used Jordan Dollar video breakdown that shot. Glad you guys helped each other. Yeah. That was probably my best show. Far as 100,000 looked at that. Now me by myself, the best show I did was that stupid Andy Dalton hit, which I still don't know how that. There was nothing exciting about the Andy Dalton video. But yeah, I mean, that was good looking for him. I appreciate it, but it's kind of proving what he was saying with physically seeing it. Billions on the line. There's no way to leave it up to chance. They look for the best financial outcome. Absolutely, like my father said in boxing, they ain't gonna let two niggas determine the fight. It's greater than that. It's greater than that. That's why to bring the brother from Alabama down after the Fury fights, it's kind of interesting. What do you do with him now? Does he have a career now? Like he can't beat Fury, obviously, in 3 fights. What does he do now? Does he retire? What does he do? Can he fight his way back up? Because most people would say, what's the point? You lost to him 3 times. Why would we let him fight again? If he did fight his way back to the title, would that generate, like Ali would say, that ain't no gate. Can't get no gate like that. So, I mean, I wonder today, how did the time going forward affect everybody? Again, last night, shit, I think it was like 4 or something when I went, by the time I got done with this and put everything up and went to sleep, it had to be like 4 or something. I don't know what time my daughter got up. I just looked at her when she got up. I heard, because Michael just left, he just Ubered home. But I heard when my son came in that morning, I don't know if she was up, but I heard them come in and I heard Michael with him because I heard my son say Michael's name. So I don't know if my daughter was up when they came in or not, but I heard him come in. Because my son knows it's like, certain people don't over here. My daughter's here to stay, but Michael's kind of like, they've been friends since they was like in second, third grade. So Michael, watched her grow up. Not hit it artificially inseminated. Maybe they knew something. Now that's possible. That's possible. It's just that hell of a lot of planning. Be like bringing Mike's little ass. Mike, you skeeting yet? Skeet in this jug. Take your little 12-year-old little ass and skeet in this jug. Maybe. Time going forward, I sped time up to me. Well, they call this fast time. It's like Indiana. I don't want to say. Well, let me get this right. Yeah. So yeah, this would be considered fast time because it's one point where I'm trying to think what state. I might be wrong with Indiana, because Indiana was considered slow time, but they on Central Time. So I think Central Time is also considered, and the Western Time is considered slower time too. But yeah, daylight savings is considered fasting time. Then again, it almost didn't get dark here until 7. So pickleball is on. I'm gonna get this therapy, and I'm looking to get new rackets. I got my new one. I didn't play in it that much since I bought my newest one. But rackets you can really go through, and it's always good to kind of have decent rackets. Again, if you play and you want to be serious to play, get a decent racket. Don't get that little $20 special, come with a couple balls and maybe the net. If you're serious about playing, spend some money, at least 50 to 100 if you're serious. Because I think I spent 130 on my newer racket. I spent about 100 on my last racket before that. And then of course, I bought the cheaper rackets, but I learned, and you play better with better rackets. I mean, it's just the way it is. You got to have the equipment. I'm wrist banded, elbow banded, look like I'm about to kick somebody's ass out there. I got so much shit on, but that's what it takes. I've suffered from tennis elbow since a young man. When I started working for the water department, we had a thing where we had to pull this thing up, and we had to pull this thing up, and it gave me tennis elbow in this arm. Okay, better. And so I've suffered in both arms from it, but my left arm seems to. So I'm going to therapy tomorrow, new orthotics, and then they're going to work on my Achilles, and I go in for my elbow on Wednesday and my foot at the same time. And I'm probably going to get a massage because my chiropractor has a massage in there. And I think she only charged $80, you can get an hour. So if I give her 120, she gives me a happy ending. So not a bad deal. You ever see the happy ending boxes? They put the boxes over you and shit. It's a movie that showed that shit. Motherfuckers all got the little boxes on them because everybody's standing next to everybody's laying on little cots next to each other, and they show the happy ending boxes over all people. And the one comedian says, "Honey, if you don't play with my balls, we're gonna be here all day." Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember that movie, but they got the happy ending boxes on it. They got little boxes for this shit where you see their little hands in there and shit. uh I was working out here. I've got weights and stuff. I got a bench I got to put together. I got a battle rope, so I was doing yoga. And actually, when the weather was fucked up, I was using my door. I got a wooden door that I can just hit. So yeah, and I would go out to the mall and walk, get a couple miles in at the walking, and I've done that. I mean, I've maintained the weight I lost. I mean, normally I walk around like 250. Right now I'm like 21. So I lost all that weight from 250 and I've maintained it. But during the bad weather, I would just go out there. Really haven't got into playing indoors. Really didn't get into playing indoors. And so, yeah. So, but now, well, I'll say this though. I played outdoors probably 15 times this past winter. So, I mean, we played long as the courts are dry. We played no matter how cold. If it ain't snowing, long as, they turn off the lights so we couldn't play as late, but other than that, if the court was dry, somebody group text say, we got enough people, we go up there. I ain't crying, happy endings. Yeah, y'all ain't seen the happy ending boxes? They got little boxes for that shit. They put the box over your junk. That's a hard 20 to make, Hey, what about that happy ending? That's a hard 20, guy. I don't know. What Chris Rock say? Working with a monster. Oh, but it's just, that's I mean, that's what it takes for physical health. So and as I told my partner's son, he's I said this the other night, he's a little discouraged because of the injuries, but it's like, to live an active life, you're gonna get injured eventually. I mean, you can injure yourself just walking your dog. You can injure yourself because being active, you will injure yourself. That's just part of being active. that you eventually will injure yourself. So you might as well find the ways to make you feel better. That's why I tell my daughter, I'm like, I know about, um, I know about helping with injuries, breaking fevers and all that kind of stuff, because I am a healer. But injuries, I know I've had so many injuries. I know how to respond to them. I know what to do. Like I said, I was in 10th or 11th grade when my brother broke his wrist. And I remember my stepdad bringing me and said, let me look at him. And they said, well, what do you think? Do you think his wrist is broken? You know how the cartoons, they show the wrist looking like a accordion, like the accordion all smashed up, the cartoons, the old anime would have like the broken limb look like an accordion, or, a folded up piece of paper, a fan, how you make the old fans. And they would show and I just remember looking at his wrist, and I was like, you better take that boy to the hospital. His wrist is broke. Because I had seen it so many times, even by that age. High ankle sprain sucks, especially when you wake up and step right on it. I wanted to cry. Now, that's something I never had. I've had the lower ankle sprains. I haven't had the high ankle sprains. And I wonder what caused that, because I never heard about people spraining that kind of their ankles until the last 20 years. So I just wonder what changed that you see that more. I pull a muscle in my 20s just by rushing and putting pantyhose on. Yeah, absolutely. You could just trip and fall. I mean, you just never know. You just never know. You never know. And and you got to know what to do afterwards. So I try to convince my daughter, because, I was like, I deal with this stuff. I've lived a lifetime of this stuff. And so that's just something to prepare for. As you out there that have younger children still, and you interested in putting them in sports, that goes with it. So you might as well look up on the ways to, what is that? Not this? Oh, it is. Okay. I was like, damn. All right. It's like, what is that climbing up my wall? I'm like, damn, something about to get me. I wish I was 15 again. Yeah, when I was 15, I could put my whole upper body over the rim. My whole upper body. I mean, I could look in the square. I would just jump. When I was 15, I would just jump on one leg. And when I would go down the middle, I would start off bringing the ball back behind my head. Let me see. No. So I would go up and rock it like this. So yeah, I would jump up in the air, rock the ball like this. And as I'm coming down, pull it behind my head and then dunk it with my face looking in the rim, and then drop down. And I remember I did that in a scrimmage. We like 6, 7 teams, and the dude sitting up front in the stands was like, ooh. I was like, oh, y'all want to see a show. So I had a couple. I don't know if the best dunk I just did as just a show dunk was probably just in the playground with my partner. And I don't even know if I got enough room to show it, but I jumped in the air. And when I jumped in the air, I turned my head as in to look the other way. And so it's like almost all my upper body is over the rim, and I'm looking the other way. And then as I'm coming down rim, I cuffed it. You ain't got to palm it. You can just cuff it. And I just dunked it. And my friend said, it's still to this day, never physically witnessed a better dunk than that one. But yeah, that was probably now I'm dunking over people. I got a bunch of stories dunking over people, catching tips over 6'10" dudes, dunking in half court games. So I never, especially younger, I never thought about somebody being taller. It's like my quickness. I could defend, and they couldn't throw it. Like if I fronted somebody, they couldn't throw it over my head. More than likely, I jumped higher than the person I'm guarding. So yeah, I miss having that. I haven't dunked a basketball. I had my knee scoped in 88, maybe 87. I was coaching, so it was 86, 87. And through rehab, I was dunking. Like that was probably the last time I dunked was like maybe 88, 89. Maybe my boy was born, so maybe 89. But I remember coming from rehab and my legs were stronger. And we was a lot of times we practice with the boys, run up and down. Like practice was over, we scrimmage. And I remember I was still dunking. I had a break when I was able to punch it. And then we was just messing around shooting warm-ups, and I was able to dunk too. So yeah, in 88, 89, 89, I was still dunking. So that was the last time. Now I had a tip. I did have a tip in a game. One of my semi-pro games, I had a tip. And I was able to like one finger push it back in. Not, I was like, I went up. If like everybody else didn't go up, I went up and caught it like with my middle finger and pushed it in. Some people say, why did you dunk it? Well, technically I dunked it with my little finger. Hey, B Brown, what's happening? Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can grab this. I'll show you my favorite beer. Definitely. Let me grab it. Man, I don't know how dudes be wearing headphones for hours. That shit really makes me sweat. Yeah, this is by I think it's Colorado Boulder Beer. Yeah, the Boulder Beer Company, and this is called the Malt 5.9. They call it the Chocolate Shake. Excuse me. And this is by Boulder Beer Company, Chocolate Shake, chocolate porter with natural flavors added. And this is a beer out of Colorado. The 5.9, so it's strong without, because most of the time you go high gravity, high percentage of beer is nasty IPAs, which I mean I don't know, I just not IPA crazy. I work warehouse and never thought I'd get injured. No one told me as you get older your knees start to go out for no reason. I am trying to get my CDL. Oh, okay, yeah. I screwed myself with UPS because I had worked some winters with UPS, and they like, why don't you be a driver? You've worked here a couple of winters, why don't you be a driver? And I accidentally, this knee surgery I had on, they was like, no, you had knee surgery, we can't bring you on. So the Alaskan Amber, yeah, that's probably number 2. It's not a very strong beer, but yeah, as far as like this is more of a winter beer because it is a little heavier. But yeah, Alaskan Amber is a good beer. Yeah, that's one of the few, again, you can get in bottles. This Rasputin beer, again, it's a stout. You don't really want to drink a stout in the winter. But yeah, the Alaskan Amber is one of my probably 2, 3 top beers because it's still an amber beer. It's an amber ale. Like Budweiser's, like I was watching the history of beer and they was talking about the American lager. And I'm like, Budweiser is not a lager. That's all Pilsner beer. Budweiser, Miller, Pabst, all them basic beers is Pilsner. More corn based than wheat and barley based. So yeah, Bud Light, Miller Light, them is all Pilsners. Budweiser say lager, it ain't a lager. It don't taste like a lager. It tastes like a Pilsner. A lot of people wouldn't know. But yeah. So yeah, that's probably number 2. And then, I'll probably go the next 4 or 5 days, don't drink as much as I like drinking beer. Because I'm an alcoholic in the sense that I could drink beer every day. And that's a person that drinks alcohol every day is technically alcoholic. But as you get older, you kind of have to change your habits. So you have to break them, eat smarter. I mean, like my daughter got to eat a Frosty today, and I love Frosty. But if you look at what that Frosty is doing to you, you are absorbing almost 30 grams of sugar. It's just not good for our systems. I bumped my knee in Louisiana. I'll tell you now, parents, the ones that are parents out there, I'll tell you the worst was them damn little little blocks, what you call them, the little blocks that build together. You talking about wanting to physically murder a child for leaving them damn building blocks out. Them damn things would hurt. I sprained my ankle one time, tripped over one, but if you step on one of them damn blocks, oh, you talking about unbearable pain and gonna have you limping for a couple days. Them damn blocks. I quit wanting to buy them. I was like, people was always giving that shit to my children. I'm like, okay. After I sprained my ankle on one and I stepped on one, I was like, the next time I step on these blocks, I am going to whoop some ass. So after that, they quit leaving them around. But that shit hurts. Them little blocks hurt like hell. Now, the second thing I hated was them damn the Nerf guns. The Nerf guns came with them little soft BBs. Like we would buy 1,000 of them things, and we would have them BBs everywhere. And the BBs would fuck up your vacuum cleaners. And again, I bought this shit and I'm buying them all guns. It was better with the darts, but when they first came out, it was them little BBs. And again, I'm buying 3 guns and I'm buying the 1,000 of BBs and not realizing that them BBs was everywhere, everywhere. So, oh, okay. Let me see. I got a hold of a strawberry ale down Louisiana. Some good stuff. Yeah, I've had some good strawberry ales too. uh, oh yeah, those blocks. It was like, when you stub your toe and like you feel it, but the pain takes a second to get to you. That's how stepping on them blocks are. It's like when you first step on them and it's one of them blocks, and you like, ooh, it is like it just kills the middle of your foot. Kodak Black new album. Okay, yeah, the one they play on the album is kind of the one they play on the radio is pretty good. Know where you buy that beer from. Don't sound like a gas station beer. Up here, like our liquor stores is liquor beer. Our supermarkets don't have liquor. Well, that's not quite true. Hy-Vee has it, Sam's has it. But most of the supermarkets, you go to a separate area. Even in Sam's and in our Cub, Hy-Vees, they're separate stores to themselves. They just started selling liquor up here on Sundays the last 2-3 years. So this is kind of a blue state. I imagine there were dry counties up here for a long time. So it ain't like you go to Michigan, it's everywhere. You go to grocery store, you can get your beer, get your liquor, which it should be like that everywhere. But so just, yeah, now if I'm in the hood, they don't quite sell, the hood sells a few different beers, just a few different likes. Yeah, stepping on Legos hurt too. That's what I meant, Legos. Yeah, they're not painful as stepping on blocks, but they still irritate. Yeah, Legos fuck you up too. Legos fuck you up too. No joke at all. My daughter leaves her shoes by the steps. I saw my eyes flash before my eyes. If Brady is back, Joe Montana is back, definitely. But yeah, Legos and them damn ass hard ass blocks. Oh, this just, like walking through. Sometime, walking. You have children that would play with that kind of shit. Sometime walking around your house be like walking around a minefield. Be like walking around a damn minefield. Step on them, and then Legos. I remember one time I stepped on a Lego and it actually cut me. And so how it has the 3 little grooves? That's where it cut me. I had like 2 grooves of bruise and 1 groove of a cut where it damn cut my foot. And I had the damn Lego impression in my foot, and one of them actually physically cut me. So yeah. So that's just the joys. It's like noise making, like people would buy you noisy toys. I remember my ex-mother-in-law used to always just think it was so fucking funny to buy all them noise makers until we wouldn't take them home. Like, yeah, they can play with them and have some toys when we come over here. And we would rush out the house, but these are for the kids. No, when we bring them over, they can make that shit here. Oh, there's my man, Conspiracy. What you doing up so late? What's happening? So that's how we used to get her ass back. It's like, quit buying these damn children these noisemakers. Because when in the 90s they would do a car and it just didn't make car noise. It played music. They had them cars and it'd be friction car, but had the buttons on top, or the motorcycle friction shit, and it would play all the music and make all the different noises. Yeah. Insomnia. Oh, I feel you. I feel you. So yeah, don't buy people if you like them. Don't buy them noisemaker toys. Most children want games anyway. Those kind of toys is obsolete. You look at toys now, and it's like, yeah, who's buying a lot of these toys? They got to compete with the video games, and most of the time when children are old enough, they want video games. They don't want toys anymore, and most of them are old enough. Whoops. Oh, okay. Most of them are old enough to fuck with the video games. They watch their older brothers, older siblings play, and most of them learn very quickly and very youngly how to manipulate video games. That's just kind of how it goes. I just bought this one today. They got a couple days of life in them. These stay sweeter a little longer though. But just eat them a little faster. I used to work with old dude, I don't know if he's insurance or broker, I don't remember, but he was the first dude I really saw chomping on him, where he would eat them. It's like, yeah, I don't want to smoke, so I do like tobacco, so I just chew on them. But he was a nasty dude. This dude was in a building where everybody wears suits and ties, and he always had tobacco. I didn't understand how motherfucker bought shit from him with this tobacco. He'd be chewing on a cigar, and then tobacco would slob down his mouth, and he would be like, "That's all day." But as I said before, there's this lady even today. She's got to be. She got a daughter in her 40s, so her daughter might be close to 50. Yeah, I think her daughter's, so she's got to be in her 70s. But I remember seeing her in her 40s. She had spilled coffee because she worked in the bank across the street, and she had spilled coffee on her dress, and the dress was very form-fitting. And I remember she parked in our parking lot, so she had to walk through my building. And I just remember looking at her, I was like, damn, this woman. I mean, she was probably 50 then, but she was probably late 40s, early 50s, but she was beautiful even then. I'm friends with her and her daughter on Facebook. She's still beautiful. I don't know how her body looks. I ain't seen her personally, but I remember seeing her then with that coffee spilled on her. Oh my goodness, that woman was beautiful. Oh, she was beautiful. Beautiful. This is what I'm gonna do. Tomorrow, normally I take tomorrow off. I only do the afternoon show. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the Responsible Daddy Hour, and I might do something, but I'm the old school. I get the papers tomorrow, so I'm gonna get the papers early because I'm gonna be up early and go through my picks. I've already seen some again. St. Mary's plays a playing team, so I look for St. Mary's to win at least 2 games. Remember, St. Mary's beat Gonzaga. So St. Mary's, I think Michigan is going to win their game. I think Michigan plays Richmond. I look at Michigan State probably is getting beat. So just trying to remember that. But if I don't forget to bring all the papers with me, I'll do it during Responsible Daddy Hour because that'll be a good time. I done went through my picks by then. So if not, maybe like right after, maybe 4 o'clock Central. Once I get home, we can all go through it because I'm not gonna do a late show tomorrow. So we can do that tomorrow, and then where I'm gonna put my money. So yeah, so we can go through that, and if you guys got any insights, and so maybe I'll just wait till I get home, and then everybody. So about around 4:30, I'll do an early show, and we can just go over the picks. I did the same thing last year, and we all can kind of decipher. Those of you that are available, we can all decipher. And if you miss, leave a comment or something if you miss it, and a chance to go over your picks if you're not because I went through a few tonight. I didn't write everything down. I just one thing I've always every year I would tell myself is I would just keep a book of all the years I've followed it in the paper. And this goes back to, they started printing them in the paper like 86 or 87. And for a long time, I kept all that shit. And then I was like, this shit. And I threw all of them away. So I always thought I'd keep that. So I'm kind of old school where I'll do it all on paper. Of course, to bet you got to go online, but just to follow through with the paper. I always do one. I always do a bracket where I do my picks and then I just physically write in the way it goes. But this year, I thought Michigan was going to be NIT bound. I did too. Oh, now, did you see Iowa end up winning the Big Ten? And Keegan Murray out of Iowa, he's up for the Wooden Award. He's going to be a nice top pick. I don't know if his brother going to go in the first round, but they both sound players. But yeah, they won the Big Ten championship. And let me make sure I get his dad's name right. Keenan Murray. Because I got a Keenan Murray, maybe his name. It's Keegan. I'm trying to think. Keegan, as somebody said there's Chris. Maybe it's Keegan and Chris. Yeah, Keegan and Chris. And Kenyon is his name. Their daddy's name is Kenyon Murray. He played at Iowa, but he's from Battle Creek, Michigan. He was Mr. Basketball. And but his boys, they did it. They did it. And his older boy is probably gonna go to the league, or one of the twins. I miss reading the paper. They got so thin. Technology's no joke either. We have a dope, small local company that provides a small news publication with cool, interesting content. Same way with here. When I get the stories on who they fucking with in prime, paper sent to me every week. Bracketology starts tomorrow. Yeah, but a lot of that shit is out tonight too. But is released tomorrow for those of you. But he said bracketology fires betting. Yeah, so if you want to get your betting in. Well, I done went an hour and a half, which is longer than I thought I could hang. I do got to get up at 9 o'clock my time, which ain't too bad. But yeah, thought I'd give an hour and a half. I'm like Patti LaBelle. Oh, Liquid Fire saying it's free. Yeah, like my little local paper, they're always like, can you help out and everything? It's money down here, so they don't need too much help. And they put our local athletes in the paper when they do, sports shit and stuff. You're right, Pontiac. NIT used to be bigger than the NCAA. If I say the 80s, March Madness came into play when Nova beat. No, it really what knocked the NIT out was UCLA. Really, if you follow UCLA, interesting history. When Bill Walton played with UCLA, there was a person from Albion, Michigan named Tommy Curtis. And again, the person I talk about being a handler, I think he was Tommy Curtis's handler too, and he helped Tommy Curtis get into UCLA. So during UCLA's, Tommy Curtis played with Bill Walton. He was that era. He was after Kareem. But Kareem kind of changed it. Really, you saw when UCLA first won with Walt Hazzard in 64 or 65, you slowly saw it changing. When by the time Kareem came, it was kind of over. I'll say this. The last big NIT was probably when Jalen Rose's daddy, Jimmy Walker, lit New York on fire when he played at Providence. I think that was probably 66, 67. So, yeah, the end of the 60s, early 70s, UCLA's run helped get rid of the NIT because UCLA was never going to NIT. But up to that point, yeah, it was considered bigger. It was definitely considered where everybody wanted to go because it was a true invite. Definitely, I don't think it went on your standards. It was an invite only. And a lot of teams wouldn't go in the NCAA tournament. If you look at the history, you'll be like, why didn't these teams go into the NCAA? A lot of teams declined going to the NCAA to go to the NIT because it was bigger. But the last person I think that starred NIT was probably Jalen Rose's dad, Jimmy Walker. And that was, you'd have to look it up, but I think it was 66, 67. And then after that, by the time Kareem got there, you started slowly seeing it change. But yes, March Madness didn't come. That's a term they came with, around then. And that's, again, that's where they had to stop Ewing and stop the brother coach from, them dominating. Because really, they had the ball. They had the ball after Michael Jordan scored. Georgetown has the ball. And Freddie Brown throws it to James Worthy, who's standing behind him. Don't know why you throw it to somebody standing behind him when you need to score and go ahead. But yeah. Yeah, I forgot Wood and UCLA Bruins teams in the 70s won 8 in a row. 8 in a row. I think they won from they didn't lose until David Thompson then beat them. And then they won 2 more after David Thompson when they had Washington and Marcus Johnson. Richard Washington. Marcus Johnson was the better pro. Richard Washington had a great college career. So they only won 1 or 2 after Bill Walton and them. But yeah, I think David Thompson then won it in 75. David Thompson, I mean, we truly missed a great player. If you didn't see David Thompson at his peak, you truly missed a great player. I mean, you really did. And cocaine took him down. But you talk about a shorter Jordan that played like Jordan. Again, the alley-oop in basketball comes from David Thompson and Monty Tao. I don't know if people realize that. That's David Thompson is the one that put the alley-oop in basketball. Him and Monty Tao. Again, not under Duncan still. Duncan was after him. The dunk didn't come back in until 77. David Thompson was gone by then. He was in the NBA or ABA. He started in the ABA. But it was sad not to see him. At one time, David Thompson was the highest paid NBA player. And he, came strung out on coke. He got thrown down the stairs at Studio 54. And that's kind of what fucked his career up. And they're high on cane and got in trouble. One of the bouncers threw him down the stairs and he broke his leg. And they shipped him off from Denver to Seattle. Yep. And of course, all this stuff was fixed. Ain't nothing changed with that. Well, let me get a divination for tomorrow. The color is green. And it is pronounced ak, which is dog, basically dog, foot. The qualities: heart, breakthrough, new beginnings, relationship, companions of destiny, emotional body issues, recasting the past, spiritual strength, guardians and guides, authenticity, and magnetizers. Symbol: wolf, dog, foot. The number's 10, manifestation. Colors: teal. Herbs: witch hazel, raspberry. Flowers: delphium, narcissus. Flower essence: dill, emotional cleaning. Scent: rosemary oil, bayberry. Stones: crucilla, azurite, indoclarite, and kyanite. It's an earth element. Directions from the north. Shadow wisdom, issues of the emotional body, possessiveness, jealousy, getting caught up in the emotional drama of life, feeling unsupported on your path, seemingly disconnected from your companion of destiny, inauthenticity. Shadow transformation, access the objectable witness who sees the emotional drama disparately and free of your experience. Bring your emotions out of drama into a place of choice, receiving their teaching and healing and the root cause. Open to the connection and support your companions of destiny. Harmonic wisdom is affinity. Mandra: left hand over the heart, right arm at right angle, and palm forward and fingers together. Meditation: I am faithful. I am a faithful arrow that flies into destiny's dawning. Affirmation: I am open to new beginnings. I receive guardians and guides. Ak. So again, those of you that are manifesting, the manifesting energies are going to be coming from north. Just give you a free little push. One of my close friends is related to David Thompson. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's not that tall. They say 6'4". I was talking to my buddy who both met him, and he's about 6'3". But that mug had like 45 inches straight up. I watched a video on YouTube about him 2 weeks ago. Watch him play. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, really, they talk about Dr. J's dunk. He did a dunk, and I've only seen one pictures of it, where he jumped in the air and he is bald, like his legs and arms are bald. Like if you can imagine if I had my other leg up and I'm like this, and then he comes out of it and dunks it. And I've only seen one picture of that and haven't seen it since. But remember, that same dunk contest, he did a 360 baseline. He went baseline and did a 360. So that shit Dr. J did wasn't I don't know, David Thompson. If you watched his dunks, they was just as good. My great grandma's on my mama's side was it David Thompson before she got married. Oh wow, my great grandma on my mama's side was on Thompson before she got married. Interesting, because David's got to be wow, man, that cat's got to be. Shit, 67, 68. Totally forgot today was daylight savings. Seems like they changed the date every year. It was actually yesterday. It's the full Nico's the first full day of it. Larry Bird overrated? Nah. Larry Bird was the real deal. I said, Indiana is basketball heaven. And they played, like the good thing Larry Bird was he played his brothers were known state, great Indiana high school players and continued to play semi-pro down there. And his brothers would play against, melanated people. And so they was taking Larry. So Larry was playing against good competition, going up. So no, as I said, if you guys want to see how good Larry Bird is, watch Larry Bird beat Indiana. Watch Indiana State play DePaul in the semifinals in the Final Four. Watch that game. If you can catch that game, you'll see where them cats from DePaul could play. Larry Bird could play. He really could. As I said before, the thing that hurt Larry Bird more than anything was transferring. Back then, they made sit out a whole year. Larry Bird didn't go. That's why really Boston was able to hold his rights. They called the Bird rights. They was able to hold him. Like if you're watching the Magic, when they were saying, well, we already know that Larry Bird going to Boston. Well, Boston had drafted him the year before. I wonder why because Ralph Sampson had a chance to go to the Lakers when Magic was there. And Ralph Sampson went back to college. Ralph Sampson could have played with Magic Johnson, Kareem, and Worthy. And instead he went back to college, which made no sense. He would have had a better career if he would have came out his junior year. It made no sense for him to stay. Yeah, Larry Bird was not overrated. Larry Bird could go. Again, Larry Bird didn't have because Larry Bird missed that year. I think Larry Bird was 24 or 25 when he went into college. And he was really only effective from 25 to 30. After he got 30, you see a drop in his productiveness. And when he tried to make a driveway for his mother, he did cement his mother's driveway in. He was cheap. Instead of paying people, he did it himself and hurt his back. And so a person whose skills were already eroding got hurt, and he never was the same player again. Blasphemy, yeah. Larry Bird could play. Larry Bird had a weak back. Well, that's what hurt his back was laying that. I mean, being cheap. Being cheap is what hurt his back. He was a good old boy, trying to save some money and lifted some shit, and the shit fucked him up. Yeah. And so, he shouldn't have been on the dream team. I mean, if anybody, Isaiah should be mad at his Larry Bird for accepting the position. I mean, everybody liked Larry Bird. But remember, Isaiah, talked shit about Larry Bird that said he'd just be another average player, which wasn't true. Larry Bird could play. I mean, really could play. Not a long career he won 3 titles. I mean, if you think about it, he only had 5 productive years, and he did win 3 titles in those 5 productive years. But he had a great cast. I mean, how good would Larry Bird have been on a bad team? I mean, we see what happened to Pete Maravich. I would say Pete Maravich had better raw skills, but they put him on a team that was never going to go anywhere. And then you had people like Lou Hudson jealous. They was pissed because Lenny Wilkes, the later coach of Seattle, many teams. He coached many teams. But when Lenny Wilkins was traded from Atlanta and ended up being the player coach out in Seattle, they wouldn't give him a raise. And Lenny Wilkins was an all-star. And so guys like Lou Hudson was pissed that they traded Lenny Wilkes away. But yeah, here comes Pistol Pete, rookie year. I think he was the highest paid in the league his rookie year. I think him and Kareem went in together. Now, Kareem was with Connie Hawkins, so Kareem was before. Kareem was 67, 68. And Phoenix, so Kareem could have went to Phoenix, but the coin toss loss, Phoenix ended up picking Connie Hawkins first, their first pick. So he was Connie Hawkins was number 2 pick. Magic was better. Magic wasn't a better shooter. Magic wasn't a better shooter. Magic wasn't a better scorer. Magic had better handles. Magic was quicker. But again, Magic played one. You know, Larry Bird was a straight three at 6'8". Had excellent handles, excellent pass, very quick. But again, that J, he putting that J in your ass. Magic shouldn't have been on the team either. Well, he didn't have the HIV. But I saw somebody kept showing the meme of saying, don't get too close to Michael because they call foul. That stung Michael. Michael didn't know what to say. Michael was like, well, you ain't, I mean, he really didn't know what to say. He didn't think anybody would go. But Michael told the truth. You know, every time that's what built Magic's career. A lot of players, that's what helped Michael Jordan's career was in foul calls. You look at the year they took out hand checking. No player benefited as much as him. And I mean, I know I talk about Karl Malone and these other players like Hardy to get the calls. Let's break down Michael Jordan's career. Mike got a lot of calls. Watch some of them old highlights and see if it's a foul and see if you think he got fouled. He got a lot of calls. I mean, I know I bitch about Karl Malone, but Mike was on the line a lot too. Magic was flirting with Jeannie back in the day. Magic had the best passer. Yeah, Magic was a little quicker passer. Magic had them dying. Yeah, Magic was quicker player. Like Larry really couldn't push it up with the speed of Magic. But Magic took the best name for a porn star. Well, Detroit, dude out of Detroit is the one that gave him that name. That's the guy who worked at the Detroit Free Press. They was trying to find a nickname for him, and that's how they came up with it. But that was young. I would say he got called Magic as a freshman, sophomore, because when I met him, I think he was going in 10th. I was going in, yeah. Yeah, he was going in 10th. He was going in. I remember he had a Big Apple hat on with his hair braided. And because we had our little, whatever the league is, I can't, YBL, Youth Basketball League, I think it was called. And Magic was at our banquet, and he handed out the awards. And so I was MVP of my team. And so I got a little award. And it was so cheap. There was little 10 little plaques, and then you could see where they, you know, you had a little hard little thing to write into the tin. It's just cheap as shit. Instead of giving us little hand trophies. Never thought about his name like that. Magic had a hook. Well, you know, Magic come from where we was taught the hook shot. I just looked at a picture of Muhammad Ali shooting a hook shot. So that was taught. As I said before the jump shot came in, that's how dudes shot deep shots. They shot hooks. Like, look at some basketball in the 40s. You see dudes shooting hooks from the wing, deep wings, you know, the deep wing. And, you know, of course, if you ever saw the Globetrotters, Goose Tatum started the half cook because Goose Tatum would make a hook from half court with his right hand. Then he'd go on the other side. He'd make a hook half court with his left hand consistently. And, of course, Meadowlark Letterman is the one that stepped in at when Goose Tatum took his own team, started doing his own barnstorming. So, well, that's going to get it. Yeah, almost an hour. So, no, it's late, but I like the late hours. I like to wait to the midnight hour. That's when my love comes tumbling down. Something like that. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave you all with the with Mora, little time walking information. It all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had exact numbers of years and days before they disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, which is our Milky Way. And to all my relations, friends, people that watch, I am another yourself. So treat me as I am yourself. And as we all lay on our infinite terraces, our infinite ball fields, because that's what the bed is shaped like, the creation ball field, rest well. Rest well. May you be protected as you sleep and have nothing bothering you. This is the Chocolate Mountain Hour. Look for me at Responsible Daddy Hour, 2:30 Central. I'll be in the parking lot waiting. Till we meet again. Say less.